Today we're going to be discussing the Stone machine. This particular machine, everything seems to work fine. It heats, it steams, but you get no water out of the group head. You can hear the pump working, but really not working, but no water comes out of the group head. Although it may be any number of things, most likely there is a clog inside of this unit here, which is the group head. There's a device called a Gicluer in there, which is a very tiny pinhole device, and that pinhole gets clogged. Today we're going to show you how to take it out and clean it. First thing you do is unplug the machine. You don't want any power. And as a reminder, we're using only metric tools. This is a device that's made overseas, so all these bolts and screws and everything are metric. If you try to use standard SAE screws, you will probably strip the bolts or screws. First thing we're going to do is we're going to get things out of the way so we can get to the Gicluer. We're going to loosen this. That was a 12 millimeter. We're going to take this out of the way. This hose goes out of the way. Then we're going to, with a 14 millimeter, we're going to take this switch out of the way. Take this screw, this nut, and put it back on so we don't lose it. Now that we got everything out of the way, using your 17 millimeter wrench, we're going to take this nut off the top. And all you have to do is loosen it, and then you can turn it by hand. Okay, when you take this nut off, there's going to be a screen. And then the Gicluer that's clogged, this is the piece that's clogged right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a 7 millimeter socket wrench, making sure it's in the direction that loosens, and we're going to loosen that. Now you know why we took all the parts out to get access to it. Okay, and this is the piece that's clogged. And to see that it's clogged, what you would do is you would hold it up to the light and look through it, and you won't see any light coming through that little hole. Okay, what you do is you soak this in descaler solution, and after I do that, we're going to show you how to put it back. Okay, so we've descaled the Gicluer. The scaler may or may not change the color of this piece. In my case it didn't, but in some cases it does. Now we have to put this back. A trick that I've learned over the years is you take a little tiny piece of masking tape, you put it on your socket, and then you push the Gicluer into the socket. So it's held there, doesn't come out. To hold the Gicluer in, we put it back in. We start it. There we go, we start it. At this point, once it's started, we can take the little piece of tape off. There we go, we can take the little piece of tape off. And then we tighten this. Be careful not to make it too tight. You will break it if you make it too tight. And getting it broken gicleur out is difficult to say the least. You just don't make it over tight. Hand tight is fine. Take your screen, put your screen back, take your nut on top, put the nut on top, back, tighten it with your 17mm wrench. A little bit more than hand tight, that's fine. Put the hose that we disconnected back. Of course, we got to get the nut up here. Using your, I think this was 13mm. Actually, it's 12mm. Now we want to put the switch back. You'll see there's not much thread on this side, but that's just enough to catch this little nut. We want to tighten it with our 14mm. We want to make sure the switch here is horizontal when we tighten it. So we hold it while we're tightening the screw. Okay, and now it lines up perfectly here. Okay, and now we should have water. Let's plug it in. There we go.